Welcome to the Viewers Club Anime 101. This will be your guide to starting anime. I'm Osama.
This is Tess.
We didn't figure out what.
We
Did
didn't
not
say
figure it
the
out.
order.
Welcome to the Viewers Club Anime 101, where we'll talk about where you should start if you want to get into the interesting and amazing world of anime. I'm Osama.
I'm Megan.
I'm Tess.
And I'm Lucas.
Without further ado, let's begin.
Woo! Beautiful.
All right.
Beautiful.
For those of you who don't know, anime is Japanese cartoons. It is awesome, many different varieties. And going into it may seem like a harrowing experience at first because there's so much to pick from. So we've compiled a semi-short list of anime to start with. And we're going to start with our resident... I'm not going to say what I was going to say because
I want to know what you were going to
problems down the
say.
line.
The anticipation.
But Lucas, we'll start with Lucas.
Oh, okay.
Oh, our resident
Lucas,
crazy.
our
Got
resident-
it.
What do you
Got
suggest? What do you suggest that our audience start with? What are your pick for some anime?
Got it.
Please include synopsises for our audience.
Yes, definitely. So I have three that I think are good getting into. First one's Attack on Titan. That was the anime that I started off with, and it remains my favorite anime. Just personally, I love the whole story. Basically, 100 years ago, these giant humanoid figures called Titans appeared, and they devoured most of the human race overnight. And the survivors of this calamity built 3 walls for the rest of humanity to hide behind. And then the main story takes place, 100 years after this, and there's kind of an uneasy peace going on because, okay, we're safe behind these walls, but we're also kind of trapped here, and we also are kind of at the mercy of these titans if they should ever break in, and then they do. And that's pretty much the main issue, is that suddenly these new breeds of titans that have never been seen before, a colossal titan and an armored titan, break into the walls and unleash mass hysteria on the people. And the story focuses on Eren Yeager and his trials and tribulations as he deals with this and goes on his quest to eradicate all of the titans all over the world. And it's a great story, I think. It's pretty bloody, so if you don't mind some suspense and tension and slight horror moments, I would definitely recommend it. The story has twists like you wouldn't believe, and it's funny because my dad likes it, and he doesn't like anime, and this is the only anime that he watches with me. I think it's a good bridge anime. If you're not into anime, a lot of people who generally aren't into it ended up liking this show, and it kind of it's a gateway anime. So definitely Attack on Titan. And then my next one would be Assassination Classroom, which Assassination Classroom is about this squid-like creature who threatens to blow up the moon by the end of the school year. And he's basically going to, in doing so, will destroy the world, and so everyone wants to kill him. But he says that something that he desperately wishes to do is teach class, I think 3E at this one high school. It's a very specific, weird request. He wants to teach a specific class at this school, and you don't figure out why until later. But he really wants to teach these people, and he wants to teach these kids, and all of these kids are simultaneously told by the government, okay, so this is going to be your teacher, but you're also going to try to kill him throughout the series, because he's a threat to humanity. And they're like, okay, got it. And
Isn't that what every teenager thinks?
and that's, yeah, so it's a normal coming of age story, and the teacher is basically totally on board with it. He's like, guys, if you want to assassinate me, you have to do better than that. Here's what you have to do. And he's teaching them how to kill people, and he's also a really great teacher. So the students are kind of like, we love you, you're a great teacher, but we also kind of have to kill you. This sucks. So it's a really fun story, full of full of different values and morals and fun little heartwarming moments. So I would highly recommend that anime. And then the final anime that I would recommend is Soul Eater. And Osama, I believe, knows Soul Eater better than I do. I haven't seen all of it, but it is basically about this, in a world where there's this academy where these teenagers are basically told how to defeat demons, I believe. And so some teenagers wield scythes, and some of them can turn into scythes and other weapons to kill these horrifying monsters. And it's a story about dysfunctional families and symmetry, and it's quite fantastic. So I would highly recommend that. It's kind of like there's 3 main groups of people. One of them's, it's this girl and her friend who, I hate this because I can't quite remember their names, but it's a girl and...
Soul Eater and Maka.
Yes, so Soul Eater and Maka. Wow, that's the title. So, basically, Maka is trying to be a Reaper, and Soul Eater's her scythe. And then there's another duo where it's Black Star is his name, I believe, right? Okay,
yes.
And then what's his weapon's name? Is it?
One second.
Is it Tsubaki?
I don't remember off the top of my head. I think it's Hibaki.
Okay, so she's also great.
One sec.
She's also fantastic. So it's them. She can turn into, I think, ninja stars. She's pretty great. And then... Yeah, Tsubaki. Okay, her name's Tsubaki.
Tsubaki. Her
yes.
name is Tsubaki.
Yes. And then, finally, we have Death the Kid, who's the son of Death. And he's obsessed with symmetry, even though his hair is the most unsymmetrical thing ever, so he hates his entire appearance. And it's really great watching him struggle throughout life. And then his two weapons are Patricia and Elizabeth, and they can turn into pistols, and he holds them, he fires them with his pinky, so he's an eccentric character. But it's an all-around fun story about death and souls and demons and chaos, so fun for the whole family. But yeah, those are my
Can you imagine?
gateway animes.
Can you imagine being so cool
Thank you,
that you
Lucas.
can shoot a gun with your pinky?
No, I can't. That's a level of cool I can never hope to aspire to be.
I don't aim for that level.
For those of you who want to watch Attack on Titan, Soul Eater, and...
Assassination Classroom.
What was the last one again?
Assassination Classroom.
Assassination Classroom. You can watch Attack on Titan on either Crunchyroll, Netflix, or Hulu. Assassination Classroom is available to watch on Hulu.
Mhm.
And Soul Eater is available to watch on Hulu and Netflix.
Yeah. I think you can
We're
only
not
watch...
sponsored by these people.
No. I think you can only watch the
We're not.
first...
We're just trying to help our audience on the way.
Yeah. You can only watch the first season of Attack on Titan on Netflix, so if you want to watch the rest of it, I'm sure there are, like Osama said, there are other sources to watch the rest of the season.
Crunchyroll is a good
Yeah.
option.
Absolutely.
All right. Thank you, Lucas.
Thank you.
Megan.
Yo, wow, this will be great. So, my anime choices aren't nearly as they're good. They're good. They're just not as insane for the most part as Lucas's choices are.
Riveting.
The first anime that I picked, I think, is really a classic. It started in 1995, and it's kind of been a staple for anime watchers for the most part. So the first one I picked was Sailor Moon. The original one, not the new one. I haven't seen anything on the new one. Apparently they rebooted it and they're way sparklier or something. I really don't know anything about the new one. I'm suggesting you watch the old one. It was one of the first animes that I watched, and I binged a lot of it. But basically, Sailor Moon is a about a coming of age story for a teenage girl who finds out that she is a warrior called Sailor Moon, and she works together with a whole bunch of other girls that become her friends along the way. They are called Sailor Scouts, and they basically defend the Earth and the galaxy from everything. So it's what I really enjoyed about it was that it was really fun. It was female led, you know, which is really great. All the main characters are all women, so it was really fun to watch that. They deal with a lot of teen angst, which is where the coming of age story comes into play. And I don't know, I just really like a lot of sci-fi fantasy style stuff. It's really cute. It's not too difficult to get into, you know? So
Right.
I don't know. Have any of you guys seen Sailor Moon before?
Just the transformations.
I have not, but I will put it on my list.
Mm-hmm. I know that Tessa's really new to anime,
Yes,
so...
I'm very new. I just started Death Note, but other than that, I have no idea what I'm talking about yet. So it's going on my list.
And that actually comes into my next choice. Thank you for bringing it up, Tess.
Yes.
Is actually Death Note. Is the first anime I ever watched to completion. I could not stop watching it. I really love, especially what's considered like the first season is especially my favorite. Basically, it's about the story of this kid, Light, who finds a book from this demon called Ryuk, who's my favorite character in the entire world. Ryuk's great. He loves apples. And the book is called The Death Note, and it's a little journal that if you write a time, a reason, and the person's name, it basically kills that person. So you write the person's name in the journal, and they're gonna die. You can also get really creative with how they die. It's very interesting. It's really interesting to see the powers of like good and evil play out in it, and watch another level of like corruption and things like that. It's kind of creepy. It has its creepier moments in it. Ryuk is really good at being that like creepy but really funny character. He's absolutely my favorite. It was the first anime that I got suggested to watch, and then I finished the entire thing within like 2 weeks. And I don't know, it's just really enjoyable. How are you liking it so far, Tess?
I
how
love
far
it.
into
It's
it are you?
Oh, gosh, I don't even know anymore because I just watched it on Netflix this morning.
Just doesn't stop.
And it was like, keep going, play the next one, continue. But yeah, it's got a little bit of darkness, and I feel like it's a good balance. And I'm not sure if we're allowed to give spoilers or not.
Here's a warning: spoilers to Death Note happening now.
Spoilers.
Okay, mini spoiler. Well, not really. I just feel like Light is actually not such a light person, and he's actually darker than the demons. So it's really interesting. I'm enjoying it.
Yeah,
That's all I have to
you'll have
say.
to let us know what you think about it when you finish.
Yes.
It's yeah. Spoilers for Death Note ending now, but yeah, really good. If you really like that darker side of anime, then I suggest watching that. If you like the more fun and a little more lighthearted side, I would suggest watching Sailor Moon. Again, I haven't seen everything of Sailor Moon yet, but it's way more lighthearted than Death Note is. So, my final anime that I picked for beginners to watch is really far off the spectrum of what everyone else has probably already picked. This is a real slice of life anime. Extremely dramatic. If you want to feel like an emotional wreck when you're done watching it, like every episode makes you cry. I'm not joking when I say that. You will cry during every single episode. So if you want to be an emotional wreck when you're done watching, watch Your Lie in April. It is so good. It follows the story. I don't remember the characters' names. It's been so long since I've seen it. But basically, you follow the story of this pianist. He's a prodigy. He's really young and he's a prodigy pianist. His mother was extremely, really, really talented. But as he got older and after his mother had passed away, he stopped being able to hear music. Like, he can't hear the notes that he plays. He's quit playing piano altogether, and he struggled kind of dealing with these like inner demons of his own while meeting this other girl who's extremely free spirited, and she plays a violin. She somehow convinces him to be her accompanist. I think that's the right word I'm using. So he plays the piano for her during her basic competition, and she's like a prodigy at violin as well. It's so great. I don't want to get into too many details because there are a lot of like major there in the minor notes that I could give on what this story is about reveals a lot of the major plot points that happen throughout it, so I don't want to get too deep into it. But it's a lot of like, it's a coming of age story, it's an acceptance of yourself kind of story. It's not only is it like beautifully written and like a beautiful story to tell, but the anime, the actual art in it is gorgeous. It like jaw dropping, super good. It's one season, and I believe it's still on Netflix. I believe. So please watch it and tell me when and how many times you cried, because I cried in every single episode. Super good, very slice of life, as opposed to everything else that's been mentioned before. This is very, very good. I can't praise it enough. So those are my choices.
All right, thank you, Megan. Your Lie in April and Death Note can both be watched. Your Lie in April and Death Note can both be watched on Netflix, Hulu, and Crunchyroll. Sailor Moon can be watched on Hulu and Crunchyroll. Now then, moving on. Tessa, do you have anything to say up to this point? We know you don't have anything picked, but
No,
do you have anything to
I
say?
think it's too early to say. But I am watching Death Note currently, so there's that.
There's that. I sent that picture to the group chat from the Gravity Falls thing,
Yeah.
where it's McGucket being like, "What's anime?" I was like, "That's
me.
Tessa.
Yeah.
that's Tessa." While we're all Seuss being like, "I have much to teach you." It's-
Yes.
yeah, you're old man McGucket in this case, Tessa.
Teach me your ways.
All right. So now I have a couple of picks for Anime 101, and I want to start off with Sword Art Online. Now, Sword Art Online is an anime that a lot of people who they're just getting into anime as a whole, they start off with this one, and that's because it's kind of got a little bit of everything. It's a combat shonen anime. Shonen means boys in Japanese, and so that refers to battle anime and action and all that kind of stuff. And Sword Art Online actually, even though that's what it is, it actually you see other stuff. You see elements from slice of life anime, and so it's just all around, and it's a good place to start. I'd say even though it's up to 4 seasons and it's continuing, I'd say just start with the first season, because that's just what most people start with if you just want to dip into the genre of anime. So here's the synopsis. In the near future, a virtual reality, massive multiplayer online role-playing game called Sword Art Online has been released, where players control their avatars with their bodies using a piece of technology called Nerve Gear. One day, players discover they cannot log out as the game creator is holding them captive unless they reach the 100th floor of the game's tower and defeat the final boss. However, if they die in the game, they die in real life. Their struggle for survival starts now. Sword Art Online can be watched on Hulu, Netflix, and Crunchyroll. The next one I wanted to talk about is a personal favorite of mine. One of my all-time favorites, Full Metal Alchemist Brotherhood. Now, Full Metal Alchemist Brotherhood is technically a remake of Full Metal Alchemist, which was the original anime made quite a while back, but when they made the anime, they didn't follow the source material too closely. And this is a shonen anime, so it's a battle anime. And Brotherhood is essentially them fixing everything they did wrong in the original and following the source material a lot more closely. It's a story of brotherhood, obviously by the title, and it's essentially, in a way, it's a weird coming of age type of thing. Even though it's crazy, and the setting is a fictional world during around the World War I, World War II era, not era. It- All right.
You got this.
Here's a synopsis. Disregard for alchemy's laws ripped half of Edward Elric's limbs from his body and left his brother Alphonse's soul clinging to a suit of armor. To restore what was lost, the brothers seek the Philosopher's Stone. Enemies and allies, the corrupt military, the homunculi, and foreign alchemists, will alter the Elric's course, but their purpose will remain unchanged and their bond unbreakable. Full Metal Alchemist Brotherhood can be viewed on Netflix, Hulu, and Crunchyroll. Now, the next one that I have on my list here is Dr. Stone. Dr. Stone is actually an anime that hasn't been out very long. It's relatively new, and it's actually a Crunchyroll original, so you can only watch it on Crunchyroll. But it is by far one of the best anime I've seen in a while, and it's not too heavy to where people who are just getting into the genre can't start with it. It's actually a really great place to start. It's considered a shonen anime, but not in the respect of battle. Even though there are battles in the show, that's not what it's about. I'm going to go ahead and read the synopsis. Several thousand years after a mysterious phenomenon that turns all of humanity to stone, the extraordinary, intelligent, science-driven boy, Senku Ishigami, awakens. Facing a world of stone and the total collapse of civilization, Senku makes up his mind to use science to rebuild the world. Starting with his super-strong childhood friend Taiju Oki, who awakened at the same time, they will begin rebuilding civilization from nothing. Depicting 2 million years of scientific history from the Stone Age to present day, the unprecedented crafting adventure story is about to begin. And essentially, this was an anime that it resonated with me to the point where I went straight to the source material and I continued on from there, and I'm still continuing on with the source material.
Read that manga, man.
Read that manga.
Wow.
Also, Dr. Stone is also what I think, if Minecraft was real life, it would be like.
Minecraft?
Like I said, Dr. Stone is a Crunchyroll original, so the only place you can watch it is on Crunchyroll.
Got it.
Now, the next anime I have, if I can find it in my list. See, this is the problem when you don't use an actual list, but are just using your watch queue. The next one I have is a slice of life anime, which is all about family and love.
Dragon Ball Z.
Not love in the romantic sense.
Sorry.
It's called Usagi Drop, and it's a slice of life. And I normally am not into QT UT stuff. That's not me. But this is one of those rare occasions where I'm like, okay, I'm in. I'm going to read the synopsis. By force of circumstances, a 30-year-old single man with a full-time job suddenly starts raising a 6-year-old girl. While running each other ragged, the two of them gradually grow into a family. This is the long-awaited anime version of Bunny Drop, the extremely popular and finely crafted comic by Yumi Unita. It's a heartwarming and entertaining work that naturally depicts child-raising experiences, but also the instantly relatable warmth and noise of being in a family. Usagi Drop, to my knowledge, is only available on Crunchyroll. It may be available somewhere else. I'm not 100% sure on that. Now, my last pick is also a relatively new anime, but it is actually, despite being relatively new, it is a great place for beginners to go. I think this is ultimately, of the ones I have listed, this is probably going to be my number one pick to start with. All right, it's tied for number one with Dr. Stone. But this is also another anime that I had to go to the source material to continue because I just couldn't wait for the episodes to come out fast enough. It is ongoing, so they're putting up new seasons every once in a while. So I'm going to go ahead and read the synopsis. Izuku has dreamed of being a hero all his life, a lofty goal for anyone, but especially challenging for a kid with no superpowers. That's right, in a world where 80% of the populace has some kind of superpowered quirk, Izuku was unlucky enough to be born completely normal. That's not enough to stop him from enrolling in one of the world's most prestigious hero academies. Now, despite the fact this is a battle anime, it is also coming of age. You know, you actually see that a lot in shonen and battle animes. But it's also not too heavy. It's not, insane blood and gore. It's not too. It doesn't reference stuff that, the general. That, people who are outside of Japan won't understand. But I think it's a great place to start. And honestly, it is one of those things where you're just going to be rooting for the hero the entire time. Now, I see we have a little time left. So I have one more anime I want to throw on there, and then I'll ask Megan and Lucas if they have any others they want to throw on. But the next one I want to add is by far one of the best love stories I have ever seen. It's called Toradora, and I'm going to go ahead and read the synopsis. It's Ryuji's first day as a junior in high school, and it seems as things are looking up, he gets to sit between his only friend and, more importantly, the girl he's secretly crushing on. So he's sitting in between them. They're not the same person. But yes. But just when he thinks the stars are aligned in his favor, he unwittingly crosses the most feared girl in school, Taiga Aisaku, making her into his arch enemy. To top it off, Taiga has moved in right next door to Ryuji and happens to be his crush's best friend. Can this school year get possibly worse? And this is one of those things you don't think, it's a slice of life. And, you think, yes, it is romance. But it's in a direction you don't even see coming. And I honestly recommend this wholeheartedly for someone who just wants to go into slice of life. And it is pretty, it's not lengthy, but it's longer than most base anime. Most base anime are around 12, 13 episodes. This one's about 25. Toradora can actually be seen on, I believe, Hulu. I know Crunchyroll. Hulu, Crunchyroll, and I don't think you can watch it on Netflix. My Hero Academia is, I think, available on all three, Crunchyroll, Hulu, and Netflix. Okay. All right. Megan, Lucas, any others to add?
I have a long list. I'm going to just skim through a few of them because I also want to get into some anime movies that if you can get access to watching them, highly recommend that you do. So I'm going to start with Yuri on Ice. I think that's one that you should definitely go watch. Again, slice of life. It's very cute. It has cringy moments, but in a fun way. And it's basically this once really talented ice skater from his hometown, and he's kind of in a rut. And then the extremely beautiful ice skater that he watched and idolized growing up, that he has obviously a crush on, decides that he's going to train him to be a better ice skater. So it's really cute. It's got a lot of fun, quirky moments in it. And if you're looking for something that's more in slice of life, which also has LGBT representation in it, but not hard, not stereotyping them or playing up the cliches too much, I would highly recommend Yuri on Ice. I think the animation again is really beautiful and the story is really cute. So I would recommend watching that. One that's a little bit, I don't say that this is one that you can't watch when you're a newbie, but I'm going to bring it up because I think that it kind of falls between newbie and advanced. I think that's a good stepping stone for anyone who's trying to find a different type of anime to watch, and that's One Punch Man.
Yes.
One Punch Man is so funny, and it's about this superhero who becomes one of the greatest superheroes ever, but he's so good that nobody can defeat him. Because he punches them, and he wins. That's it. And he's spending the entire first season just trying to find somebody that can possibly beat him. Right. And when he thinks that he finds them, they don't. And it's really funny because all the other superheroes that he's up against have a difficult time fighting them, but they're considered the best, and yet he just he's like, I wish there was something more challenging for me.
One punch?
One punch? Why can't it be... Exactly. It's why can't it be two punches? It's really good. It's really funny. If you like things that are mainly action-driven, this is definitely it. It's really good. So, I'm not going to explain this one. It doesn't need a definition. Pokemon, especially the first season, the earlier seasons of Pokemon. It's it walks the line between anime and cartoon. And I know that most of us have probably already seen episodes of it. Pokemon is really fun, lighthearted. It's cute. I'm not going to explain what it's about because I think most everybody already knows. And I'm gonna throw a few movies out there if you can find them. Paprika is really good. I made Lucas watch it. What did
Very
you
good.
think, Lucas?
Very, very good. Love the story. Love the visuals. Love everything about it.
Really good. It's basically Inception before Inception happened, and it's anime. And
Yeah.
it's fun. It's great. The next one I'm going to suggest is Your Name, which is a slice of life mixed with fantasy reality. It's a teen love story where these two teens are somehow connected through, like, they're somehow connected. They somehow keep switching bodies with each other, and it's between a guy who lives in the city and a girl who lives in the country. It's really sweet. It's adorable. It's got some intense moments, but would totally recommend watching that. It made me cry. I'm suggesting things that make me cry because I want everyone to suffer along with me.
Thank you.
Next, I suggest Wolf Children. I don't know if anyone has seen this movie.
I've heard of it. I haven't seen it, but I've seen the trailer and the synopsis.
It's really beautiful. It's about this mom who falls in love with... I don't want to say he's a werewolf.
Yeah.
It's kind of a werewolf. Kind of not. It's more you have to watch it to experience it. She falls in love with this guy, finds out that he's connected more or less to the supernatural, and they have 2 kids together. And then one day she finds herself having to raise those 2 kids on her own because his animal instincts kicked in, and he died. So she has to raise these 2 kids who are half human, half wolf. She has no idea how to raise them, and she's trying to keep them safe in any way a mother could. It's really beautiful, and I don't know, it kind of shows the strength of a mother, and I really liked that about it.
Yeah.
Highly recommend watching it. Another one that made me cry at the end. So it's... Cry! That's all I'm saying. You guys need to cry more. And then the next one is more of a franchise. My last group of movies is more or less a franchise, and I suggest watching almost every single thing that Studio Ghibli has ever made.
Yeah.
Ever. They're very much kid-friendly animes, which is really hard to find at some point. Some of them have darker storylines, so beware of that. But they are mystical and beautiful and wonderful, and they almost always have like a female lead, which is hard to find in some shows. They have strong, independent young girls who are growing into it. They don't start out strong. They actually struggle to find a lot of their identities, and that happens with every character that they make a main character on. Some notable ones that people might have heard of: My Neighbor Totoro, really cute. Spirited Away, really good. Howl's Moving Castle, Princess Mononoke. There's like a huge list. So if you just find a place where you can watch any movie done by Studio Ghibli, watch it.
Yeah.
So those are my suggestions. I wanted to throw in a few movies in there because I know some people prefer movies to series because it has a clear start and an end. So I wanted to throw those in there. If you can find them, watch them. Most of them you can rent on like Vudu or something, I think. So, yeah. That's what I got.
Nice. You kind of took a lot of... I was going to suggest Spirited Away and Howl's Moving Castle as well, but you took... Yeah, those are... I love the Ghibli film. You took it from me. You stole it. Self-control. So thank you for mentioning those. Those are both awesome. I don't have as many suggestions as Megan, but I have a couple. I guess for starters, if you want something that's like, it has action, but it is also just really wacky, and the story itself will just make you laugh by how bizarre it is. Wink, wink. Watch JoJo's Bizarre Adventure. Like, it's funny in itself how, like, all of the stories play out. I didn't quite know what it was about. My friend just told me, just watch it. Just watch it. It's great. And it's on Netflix. I think it's still ongoing, and so's the manga, I think. But it's basically, it chronicles kind of every generation. There's there's a person that takes up the mantle of JoJo, and they're in the same, family. They're in the Joestar family, And in the beginning, it's kind of Victorian era, and then in the same season, then it's kind of early 20th century, and then it's kind of mid 20th century. It goes throughout time, but it's kind of the descendants of these people, and they each go on their own adventure, and they're almost always facing like the same kind of antagonist, Dio. So it's just always Dio, no matter what. It's always Dio, and it's really great. A lot of people, I would just I haven't seen a lot of it, but a lot of people recommend that you start at, I think, season 2, because that's when kind of like the main magical element of it comes in. I would just recommend watching it so you can understand what the heck's going on. So I like season 1, so that's probably gonna get me shunned by the anime community, but what of it? So I like that season. So that's a good show. Another one is I just had it. I had it written. Oh, that's disappointing. I hate when that happens.
It's gonna kill you.
Yeah, it's gonna gnaw at my brain.
Remember when I had a hard time the other day trying to figure out what Aura High School Club was?
Yeah. Oh
Yes.
It was killing me.
Oh yeah, I hate when that happens. Well, anyways.
And you thought by saying girl dressing up as a guy that would narrow it down.
Right. Right. Well, anyways.
It kind of did.
So I really like that one, and this is not. I don't know if this can fall under the beginner anime. I watched it as a beginner, and it was all right. If you, it's a basically a mecha anime, and I think Osama knows where I'm going with this. It's a mecha anime, and it can get real deep and tackle some real philosophical questions, but I like that. I personally I don't mind a bit of those dark things. I don't mind it when they ask you those deep questions that really make you think. And I just really like, honestly, how each episode was directed. I really like the camera movement of each episode and how the story was told. And the intro to this anime is probably one of the most notable and one of the best out there. It's Neon Genesis Evangelion. I said it. So it's good. I like that one. It's basically it takes place in kind of the distant future, and it centers around this kid named Shinji. Poor Shinji. You're going to be frustrated with Shinji for most of the series. Basically, there are these celestial creatures called the Angels, and they are attacking Earth. And kind of the last, there were 2 angel attacks previous to the story, and it brought about something called it brought about basically almost the apocalypse, where most of the world's population was wiped out, and they've been trying to build up ever since. They've been trying to rebuild civilization ever since, but now they've created
Thanos?
Huh?
I said Thanos?
Yeah, so Thanos happened, and the snap happened, and they're trying to build up these characters that can defeat Thanos. It's like the Avengers, but it's an anime. And it's just... I really like it. It's, so it was a global cataclysm known as the Second Impact. And it's funny because the anime was created in the 90s, so the dystopian future is 2015. So it's not quite dystopian, but
we're getting
it's there. Yeah, we're getting there. It's really good. Shinji has to basically power this kind of empathetic robot that you have to connect with, and it's really funny because it kind of only works if you have a really strong psychic connection with it, and if you're of really sound mind. And the 3 kids that they chose to pilot these have almost the worst psychological mindset of any kid I've like. They're all messed up. They are messed up. I don't know why they were picked as pilots, but it's like they're
'Cause
like,
they're the
you know,
best.
you have to have, you know, you have to connect with your Evangelion, or with your Eva. You have to connect with the Eva. You have to really, you know, do that. And, you know, Shinji's like, I hate myself! And it's like, okay, that's not a good place to start. So, you know, you basically are yelling at Shinji to get in the robot the whole season. So it's really great. I still haven't found that freaking anime that I thought of earlier, which disappoints me on a spiritual level.
Well, when it
But,
comes to your mind at like 3 a.m, message me and I'll put it up.
I will. I'll message you. Yeah. So I guess those are two ones that I really like. I would, real quick, like to add on to some of what I was talking about Attack on Titan. I could gush on Attack on Titan forever, but
that'll be a future episode.
Keep in mind, though, this is a recommendation, not an analysis.
No, yeah, I'm not going to analyze it. I just wanted to... It's ongoing. The other ones that I mentioned, Soul Eater and Assassination Classroom, I believe they're both done, but Attack on Titan is ongoing, and the 4th and final season is supposed to come out either at the end of this year or sometime next year, and I would highly recommend it. So...
Season 1 or done?
Yes, let's do it. Oh my gosh. So yes, those are my recommendations.
All right. We talked about a lot. We added a lot more than I thought we were, which it's not a bad thing. Went into way more detail than I think we should have.
We always put a spoiler warning up front.
So this is the Viewers Club suggested intro to anime. I have been Osama.
I was Megan.
I was Tessa.
I used to be Lucas.
And keep in tune for Viewers Club Anime Edition. We'll have future episodes such as 10 Slice of Lifes you should watch and 10 ongoing anime that you should watch. Hopefully this will be an ongoing segment we do.
Heck yeah, Tessa's got a whole bunch of homework.
Oh yeah.
You do.
And
you
hopefully
have a
next-
lot of homework. You really do. You
have decades of anime to watch. Good luck.
Yeah, you won't see me for a while.
Comes out of her cave.
And hopefully the next episode we do will be very interesting in the anime respect.
It will.
I don't think we're going to do Anime Advance for a while, but we're on our way.
Tessa and I
All
have
right.
to catch up.
We are on our way.
Adios.
Adios, amigos.
Bye.
Bye. What's your favorite anime?
Yes, send your favorite anime,
Yes.
and if you actually watch, here's your assignment anime. If you have seen any of the anime we have mentioned in the video, please let us know on social media and let us know what you thought of it. All right, now for real, we're going to go. Bye.
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 That was fun. You overwhelmed yet, Tessa?